every time that I go somewhere, and it doesn't matter, you made a great point, it doesn't matter how far you go. When I leave the office and my normal routine for 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, whatever it is, I always come back with like an extra fire under me.
Absolutely.
Even, it may not even be a work trip, but while I'm there, my mind is just turning. Because you see how abundant the world is. You see so many different things, so many different people, the way people live their lives. Like, you get inspired by different things. And I feel like that I always come back with some new idea or whatever, whether it works or not, whatever, but I'm not afraid to try it.
At the end of the day, like, you're selling the travel.
It's on you.
You know, it's on you. And I was like, I just need to sell myself and be confident in who I am and not worry about leads that I'm getting from my agency. No, like, I'm going to...
It's got to be on you.
Yeah, it's going to be on me. I'm going to go seek out these people. And, you know, my numbers literally from 22 to now quadrupled in sales. And the only reason that happened is because...
The Mark Biggs Show.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Mark Biggs Show. Super excited to have a guest back on today, and I think you guys will get a lot from her story and just learn about business in general, being a strong, independent woman inside of the business world, and just being able to take risks, take care of her family, all these various things. So I'm super excited to have Allie Raymer on the show today. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat.
Absolutely. When I reached out and you said yes, that you were ready to roll, I was like, all right, this will be a good one. So give everyone that doesn't know who you are, like the 5-minute, backstory, where you're from, where you grew up, just kind of your upbringing and those kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So originally I'm from Lexington. I have 2 amazing parents. They were from there too, so born and raised there. I had an older brother. He was 8 years older than me. He passed away last year. And then, just grew up in like a normal, like very run-of-the-mill Christian home.
Sure.
Like, we were in church every time the doors were open. A lot of sweat equity put in over the years. And just grew up playing sports. Grew up, going to church, and in Lexington, just kind of, I don't know, living a very like cookie cutter normal life, I would say. Went to Henry Clay, which is kind of like, I kind of compare it to like the Bowling Green here.
Gotcha.
Kind of like the downtown school, the like bougie kind of old school,
Was it a bigger school?
It was
in
huge.
Lexington? Okay.
Yeah, like it was definitely the biggest public high school. It was probably like 2,500, 3,000 people that went there. And I was in the academy there, which was kind of like a little special school within a school. And my parents used to always make fun of me because we were very, I would say, just middle class, like normal. And all of my friends in the academy, their parents were like doctors and professors, and they worked for UK. And my parents were like, "Oh my gosh, do you feel like you come from like the wrong side of the tracks?" And I just kind of laugh it off. It was.
What did your parents do for a living?
What it was. So my dad worked for an engineering company. He pretty much did everything an engineer did, but he wasn't a PE. And then my mom's in real estate.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so just like very normal. Just had like an awesome upbringing. My parents were amazing. Like, even when we had no money, they always just made it seem like we had a normal life.
I can echo that with my parents too. My parents were very middle class as well. They both worked at Kroger, which is a grocery store here locally. So we never felt, those kinds of pressures that I'm sure they actually had. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. And like, looking back, I talked to my dad and I'm like, you always prioritized going on vacation. And he's like, yeah, like even when we had no money, he was like, I would go work extra and go do extra for us, because
it's about the experience.
Yeah, like I wanted us to have that experience. So my parents just always prioritized stuff like that. It didn't have to be something special, but or spend a lot of money on it. But
I know this is probably foreshadowing a little bit to going into your career now, but do you think that kind of had an imprint on your adult life?
Absolutely. I remember my dad, this was back when like AAA, which AAA still exists, but like was really like the place you planned your trips. And my dad would get, I don't know if y'all know this, but like trip tickets. Have you ever heard of this?
I've never heard of
that. Okay. I remember my dad would get them and it would map out your whole trip.
Okay.
So we would go out west and he would like hand me the trip ticket.
So this is like a physical ticket?
It's like a physical ticket, and it would be like a booklet and you would flip through it.
If people are 20 or under on this, they probably don't know
that
we
they have
like
no
actual
idea.
Maps, actual tickets before.
I'm almost 40, y'all. Like, it's kind of an old person thing. But yeah, so my dad would get these little trip tickets and I would be the navigator. That's awesome. And it was so much fun. Like, I just loved that. So that definitely had a huge impact on
I was
what
assuming
I do now.
So what? So you grew up in Lexington.
Yeah.
went to Henry Clay. Did you come to Western? Is that what brought you to Bowling Green?
Yeah, exactly. I was in journalism, and Western honestly has one of the best journalism programs
I've heard that,
in the country. Yeah. So none of my friends came down here. All my friends went to UK and Eastern, and I kind of came down here alone, and I kind of loved it.
Was it hard at first?
Yeah, it was. It was tough at first, but then I just ended up making like new friends.
Sure.
And I got involved with the college yearbook, the Talisman, and just kind of made new friends. Like, it was really fun. Yeah.
You seem like you would be able to be, confident enough in yourself to go and make new friends, even if you didn't know anyone. Has it always been that way?
I think I was kind of more shy growing up. And then I think I just kind of forced myself to be fake confident. My mom used to always say, baby, it's smoke and mirrors. And I'm like, yes.
A lot of time it is. I mean, I could echo that even to this day. There's a lot of times where I'm walking into meetings with people that, are very successful, or I look up to them or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I can't go in here, acting like I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm nervous at all. So I've got to put off that vibe, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
But I totally understand that.
Yeah.
And from someone that didn't go to like traditional college right out of high school, I would just assume that there's a lot of people that are coming to college from different places that are in that same boat. Right. So if you can just probably break that initial ice, that you're going to find some friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And for me, it was just going to that first meeting. And this is funny. This is how Josh and I actually met, my husband, is I did not want to walk up the hill by myself in the dark. And I remember him being at a meeting, and he seemed like a nice guy. And I was like, will you please walk me back to my dorm? Like, it's dark. I don't want to walk by myself. Sure. And he was like, yeah, sure. That sounds great. And that's how we initially met my freshman year.
So did you guys have like a long walk and talk up the hill that night or what?
Yeah, we were both dating other people at the time. Gotcha. So we just kind of had a friendship. Cool. But yeah, that's actually how we met, was both working for the college yearbook. So neat. Fun story.
So as you go through college, did you graduate from Western? Did you move around?
Yeah.
What did you do? Did you switch your major? Tell me how that went.
Yeah, so I majored in journalism. I minored in political science. I kind of pictured myself being either like a sports reporter or working for like Fox News or something like that. And then my priorities just shifted a little bit. I ended up graduating a year early with Josh, and because by that point we were dating.
Sure.
And so I decided to go to UK and get my master's in secondary English education.
Nice.
And I kind of always thought that I would be a teacher, so I pursued that. And yeah, ended up being a high school English teacher.
So did you, when you went to Western and got your master's, was it right out of that you went into teaching?
Yes, yeah. So I was, no joke, I was 22 when I got my first teaching job.
Where at?
I was at Shelby County High School.
Nice.
Yeah, Josh and I had just gotten married. We were babies. Mm-hmm. I was 22. He's 23. And worked at Shelby County, and he was a sports reporter for the Frankfurt newspaper there. Gotcha. So yeah.
How long did you stay at Shelby County? And what was
just that 1 year. Yeah. Which was great. I actually worked for, the principal was one of my dad's really good friends growing up.
Cool.
And he kind of gave me a shot. And that was awesome. That kind of taught me a lesson of like, it really is about who you know.
100%.
And making those connections. So that was an amazing experience to get to teach there. And then Josh ended up getting a job at Western.
Gotcha.
So we moved back
here. And that's
here.
what brought you back here?
Yeah.
So once you left Shelby County, what was your next teaching position?
Yeah. So then I ended up getting a job at Franklin Simpson High School. I taught English there. Again, that was definitely about who I knew because my mother-in-law had been a principal down in Franklin for 20 years probably. She was at Franklin Elementary, so she kind of got me that initial setup and absolutely loved working in Simpson County.
So did you teach multiple grades there or just
Yeah, I taught really 10th and 11th grade. I don't think I ever taught seniors or freshmen, but
it was always in high school.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
I've always talked to teachers and, because I have a lot of teachers that are clients, and the third grade teachers are like, I could never teach middle school or high school. And high school teachers are always like, I could never do that. Is that like a real thing?
Yes, it's a very real thing. I'm very much a high school teacher. I could
Tell
never.
me how that works. Like, why do you feel that way, that you couldn't deal with like elementary school kids and vice versa?
Okay, to be totally honest, in high school, you only have kids, at least at Franklin, we only had kids for 55 minutes.
Sure.
So it's like, even like your worst kid that's like, okay, this kid drives me bonkers, and they're never absent.
Oh, of course.
They're always there.
They're always there. They don't miss.
No, they don't miss.
Because their parents are like, hey,
right,
you gotta go.
You gotta go. So, you only have them for 55 minutes a day.
Like
so you're like, I can handle literally anything for 55 minutes. And I don't know. I always saw myself as like the big sister.
Sure.
And I always loved like mentoring kids.
That's
and
cool.
just
because that's
like
a critical time for them, both boys and girls at that point in time. Everyone's trying to figure out who they are, where
Yes.
they fit amongst the ranks, and
Right.
all that type of stuff. So that's a critical time for them to have a teacher that like cares.
Right. I like genuinely cared about them. Like I had to teach Shakespeare and like I had to teach, like The Great Gatsby
Sure.
and all of that, but I genuinely was just like, be a good human.
Absolutely.
Like I hope that that's what all my high school kids got from me.
Sure.
So
I can echo that like with sports and coaching, because people, now that my kids are starting to play sports, people are always like, why don't you coach? Why don't you coach? And I'll be honest with you, if I was going to coach, like be the head coach,
right.
I can always coach first base or something, be like, yeah, that sort of stuff. But if I was going to coach, it would have to be when they're middle and high school.
Yeah.
Just because the age that they're at now, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, I can't do that. With all due respect, I don't want to listen to the parents mouth at me, to be honest with you. Why is little Johnny not playing shortstop and batting third?
Yep.
It's because little Johnny's not very good, and he
Right.
doesn't want to be
Right.
here. You want him here,
Yep.
that kind of thing. So I can echo that. I would do so much better if I was going to coach and they were middle school or high school.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Because
And that's like such an interesting point, because I actually coached high school volleyball when I was at Franklin.
Well, they want to be there.
And they want to be
They
there.
want to be good.
Yeah, and I had to deal with the parents a little bit,
Sure.
but it wasn't as much as like, in elementary school.
By that
level.
point, they understand,
Right.
like, kind of most of the time where their kid fits on the team. They're
They
this
get it.
position,
Yep.
they sub in for this or that, whatever.
Right, right.
So it's just a lot easier. So how long were you at in Franklin teaching?
I was there really on and off about 10 years. Yeah.
What would you say is the one or multiple things that you learned throughout your career as a teacher that kind of maybe propelled you or set you up to have the success that you're having now being self-employed?
Yeah. I would say one, just learning to interact with all different kinds of people, because we saw it all.
Sure.
I mean, we really did.
Sports helps with that too. I feel like growing up playing sports.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing now is because of the opportunities that I was given as a teacher.
Sure.
So when I was teaching, my principal came to me and said, hey, the teacher who's doing the travel club isn't going to be doing it anymore. She suggested you would be a good fit. Are you interested in doing the travel club? And I was like 110%
For sure.
yes.
So tell me what the travel club is like in a high school setting. What does that mean?
In the high schools, I feel like a lot of them do it here in Warren County as well, but they essentially just recruit kids to go on trips. They might do like 1 or 2 trips a year. You fundraise for them. I mean, Franklin it's a diverse community.
For sure.
And it's a Title I school. So we did a lot of fundraising for kids to be able to go travel the world. We did like a World War II Europe trip. So it's like educational trips. Yeah.
That's cool.
That was amazing. It was like the most amazing 2 weeks ever. We did World War II Europe. We did like fun trips like Belize. And then I did like a Mediterranean trip. So essentially just taking kids abroad.
Holy smokes. I went to the wrong school.
That was also why I was like maybe the cool teacher, is because I would
100%.
like take kids to Europe. And
You had a
it was
special
blast.
in with those kids, that's for sure.
I did. It was really fun. Yeah.
So tell me about how becoming a travel agent, being self-employed, kind of came about. What led you to say, hey, yeah, I'm ready? What was that jump like? Give me a little bit of insight into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sherry, who's my husband's aunt, she owned her own agency, Picture This Travel, and she saw me selling travel to 16, 17, 18-year-olds who really couldn't afford it, to be honest. We were out fundraising, and I was selling groups of like 40 people. I mean, I think my World War II trip was about 40.
That's a big number.
It
From a
is.
high school to go, seriously.
Right. It was big. And she was seeing what I was doing and where I was going. And she's like, Allie, like you can sell travel to people with money. And I was
And
like,
probably a lot easier, I would say.
I was like,
They want to do this.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. I never thought about that. Like I knew you were a travel agent. I just didn't really think about that as like a career option. Sure. And so she's like, why don't you just come to my house in the summer when you're off from school and just watch what I do and see if you like it. And so the summer of 2017, I'd gotten back from my World War II trip, taken that big group, and I just jumped right in, and it's kind of just been an adventure ever since.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So give me some educational things about a travel agent, because I think a lot of people don't know exactly how it works. And I think a lot of people, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, would kind of be hesitant at first to use one because they think, oh, it's going to cost me extra money or this or that. What's some of the misnomers, I would say, about being a travel agent that you had to like work through?
I definitely have to overcome that perception. So I think too, there's like a shift in the language that's being used. So I feel like in the past, a lot of people have said travel agent, and that's kind of I don't want to say like an old school phrase.
Sure.
I definitely still call myself a travel agent because people recognize that. But we've tried to kind of shift the language into travel advisor because we really advise people on, what kind of vacations to take. We really try to listen to them. So that's kind of a first hurdle that I have to get over. And then I would say 90% of my clients who come to me for the first time, they've never worked with a travel agent before. So it's like, okay, let me explain how this works. I'm going to listen to you. You're going to tell me what you're looking for. I'm going to match you up with the right vacation, the right properties. And a lot of people don't know that like we do earn our commissions from the suppliers that we work with.
Sure.
So it really doesn't cost you anymore. Sometimes we can save people money. Sometimes we have to charge fees for like custom trips, but that's just like, kind of an obvious thing for some people. And it's pretty minimal once they realize like the fees we charge.
Right.
So,
but then also too, I'm sure it's easy for you once you get to that point to be able to show the value of whatever the fee is that you're like, hey, I know this is a fee, but like this is worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's what I love doing. Like I love the consult call. So I always do a free consult call. And once I get people on the phone and they hear like the expertise and the experience that I've had, they're like, oh yeah, this is a no-brainer. Like I've had people just read off their credit card number to me on the phone. I'm like,
tell me when it's being charged. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. But I think you just kind of have to prove yourself to people at first of like, I actually know what I'm doing. Because they're just like anything, there's a lot of people out there who maybe don't really know what they're doing.
I can echo that in my business by talking about, there's a lot of people that handle their own investments and they have for a long time. And it doesn't necessarily mean they've done a bad job. So when I'm meeting with those people, it's my first hurdle is like, hey, I get paid to do this. So how can I show my value to you?
Right.
Why does it make sense for you to now at this point pay me to handle it for you?
Wow, yeah.
How can I prove that to you? And that's a big hurdle for those types of people too. So I can see where that's like an initial thing to get over the hump of. But the people that get it, they get it. And they're like, oh, why didn't I hire you 5 years ago?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I'm sure that's similar in your case too.
Yeah,
so
very similar.
I would assume if you started in 2017, did you jump full time? Did you start part time at first?
Yeah.
Give me that process.
Yeah. Since it is a commission based job and we don't get paid until people travel, most people plan their trips 6 months to a year out. So it's a little bit of a building process. Guaranteed. For sure.
100%.
So yeah, I started in 2017. And then in 2019, I'd finally sold enough to replace my teacher salary, essentially. So I left teaching in 2019 full time. And then the pandemic
then 2020, here's COVID. How you doing?
Right. So then the pandemic hit, and I also had a baby that year too, my first baby, Paxton. So it was a double whammy. It was like a lot of hormones and emotions.
Oh, I cannot imagine that, to be honest with you.
So 2020 was hard. Because you were doing our finances at that point. Like, I made no money that year. I think I literally, we sat down and looked at it. I think I made $3,000 that year.
And you were probably at some point like, why did I do this now?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sitting at home with a newborn, just really questioning.
Well, no one can travel.
Yeah, no one can travel. And I could have stayed at my teaching job and just collected my paycheck like normal. It was hard. I think my Bible study group that year saw me weep on a weekly basis.
I can only imagine. Rightfully so. I was going to ask, what do you think it was that allowed you to kind of just continue to push through and realize, hey, there is a plan and I'm doing the right thing. I've just got to kind of see this storm through.
Yeah, that was really just taking care of people. Like that year, a lot of people's vacations got ruined. Like a lot of people's trips got canceled. And it was just like, I have to take care of people. I have to serve people. I don't care that I'm not making any commission, but I'm still going to serve people.
100%.
And so it was like this realization of like, I think there's, the verse in the Bible that's like, your work as if you're working for the Lord. I remember telling myself, I'm actually working for the Lord. Like, I'm not making any money doing this.
Yep. So this is literally for him.
Yeah. Like, this is literally just, I'm going to be working for him and I'm going to be serving people well. And that has to be worth something 100%. At some level.
And
so
I would say that on the backside of that, he's blessed you tremendously after seeing that through. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So as you're going through 2020, and when did it start to kind of pick back up where you were like, okay, I see a light at the end of the tunnel. People are starting to get out and about. I can still do this.
Yeah. So I actually had to go back to teaching that next year because we did have a baby.
Sure.
And although the Lord provided for us in 2020, we were both like, maybe we should also go back to teaching just to get a little bit of paycheck. So I did have to go back in 21 and teach for that year. But that's also when it picked back up. So I did the same amount of sales that I did in 2019 while teaching.
Heck yeah.
And
I bet that was a lot to deal with too in its own right.
It was a lot, but it was one of those things where I was like, thank the Lord that this is picking back up, that people want to go 100%. Back and travel again. And so I worked my tail off that year. I mean, it was unreal. Like, I would leave school, I would come home, I would put Pax to bed, and I would work till midnight, 1 a.m.,
Absolutely.
because I knew this teaching gig is going to be short-lived. Yeah. I'm going to quit again in May, and I have to take care of these people.
Well, you probably felt that taste of the self-employment and the freedom that comes with that schedule-wise, and especially now having a newborn, you're like, this flexibility I can't beat.
Oh, absolutely.
Because with any job, whether it's teaching or another corporate job, there's set hours. You have to be there at certain times, this, that, and the other, and there's no negotiation with that.
Right.
So I would say that was a big part of the thought process of, hey, I've got to get back to this.
Yeah, it was a huge motivation for
so
sure.
It tells me everything that you've said to this point is like, you're not scared to work, you're not scared to take the risk.
No.
And I think that is just such a common trait of people that have success in whatever realm of work that they do, whether it be parenting, coaching, teaching, working, anything. Common denominators are always you can't be scared of some risk, and you have to be confident in yourself and not afraid of the work. So tell me, as you jump back into it full time, what have you done since then to kind of separate yourself, to kind of climb to the heights that you've climbed to now?
Right. I think the big part of it was just, like you said, being not afraid to work. Like, I've always been, I've never been the most talented. I've never been, the most athletic, the most whatever, the smartest. I've never been that. So it's like, I've always just worked hard, and that's all I've ever known. So with travel, it was the same way. I was like, I'm just going to work my tail off. And in 2021, I remember having a moment. We got to go on a FAM. A FAM is like a travel agent trip where you get to learn. And we went to Cabo, and I'd never been before. And obviously this was after COVID. Like, we still had to do like all the testing, and all that, wear masks and all the craziness. And I remember coming home from that, and the words from Jireh, the song Jireh, just really stuck out to me. Like, the Lord was like, I promise, like, when you get to the mountaintop, you're going to understand what this was all for.
That's cool.
And like, I held on to that promise, and I still do. Like, times when I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
Right.
I'm still holding on to that promise from 21. And I just remember coming home, and it kind of lit a fire under me. And travel will do that. Like,
100%.
When you go see other places, it doesn't matter how far you go, you're like, wow, I'm inspired. And so I made my own website. I worked on my branding. I just kind of was like, I don't know, throw caution to the wind. I'm putting all my eggs in this basket at this point.
Doubling down at that point.
Oh, I was doubling down.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I have to lose? I've already started a business from scratch once, watched it burn to the ground.
With no control of my own, right?
Right. Like, of no fault of my own. And I was like, we're just building from the ashes, and we're just going to roll.
That is so cool. That fires me up.
Dude, I was so hyped when I came home from that trip. Like, I can't even explain it. So
travel does that, though. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to interject
right.
this, because every time that I go somewhere, and it doesn't matter, you made a great point, it doesn't matter how far you go. When I leave the office and my normal routine for 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, whatever it is, I always come back with like an extra fire under me.
Absolutely.
Even, it may not even be a work trip, but while I'm there, my mind is just turning. Because you see how abundant the world is. You see so many different things, so many different people, the way people live their lives. Like, you get inspired by different things. And I feel like that I always come back with some new idea or whatever, whether it works or not, whatever, but I'm not afraid to try it.
Yes, exactly. So that was 21. And I just was like, I'm going all in. I'm not going to worry about my agency.
Sure.
So being a travel agent, you're an independent contractor. It's kind of like being a realtor. Like, yes, you have this brokerage that you work for, and they have a brand, but at the end of the day, like, you're selling the travel.
It's on you.
It's on you. And I was like, I just need to sell myself and be confident in who I am, and not worry about leads that I'm getting from my agency. No, like, I'm going to...
It's got to be on you.
Yeah, it's going to be on me. I'm going to go seek out these people. I invested in things that I thought would, give me back some returns. Like, I started working out at D1 because I thought, hey, there's a lot of great people that work out at D1.
I'm sure they travel. Let's make some connections.
Yeah, I'm like, let me start working out here, you know? So I started just like making intentional decisions of things like that. And just really working on my branding. And I'm so blessed to have my husband, Josh, because he's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Josh Raymer.
Yeah, for real. He's seriously brilliant.
He's a wonderful human.
He is. He's always been my biggest cheerleader. He always stands behind me, like, just pushing me, really, is what he does. He will constantly, he doesn't just like, yeah, that sounds great, babe. He's like, no, you need to do this.
Constructive criticism.
Absolutely. And he's the only person, my parents have said this, he's the only person who could ever give me constructive criticism, and I actually listen.
That's fair.
So I'm glad I married that person.
A little bit of hard-headedness there, is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I think that's a trait of successful people too, in all honesty.
It is, I think. I mean, you got to have a little bit of that in you.
Do.
But so yeah, he's just really pushed me, and he's just a brilliant like branding marketing brain.
Sure.
So that's definitely helped me kind of hone in on what my brand is, who my people are, what my niche is. And, I've kind of brought in other people. I worked with a consultant who did a relaunch of my website, really focused in on my niche and who my audience is. And then when I found out I was pregnant with my second, McLean, that was a surprise.
Yep.
That honestly forced me to like level up.
Sure.
Because I thought, okay, now I have 2 kids, or I'm going to have 2 kids. I have this 9 months runway.
Yep.
And I need to figure out how to prepare for that.
Life changes when you go from 1 to 2, 0 to 1, 1 to 2. It doesn't matter. Life changes when you start adding kids to the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. So adding McLean was definitely, honestly, one of the best things for my business, which is so strange, but it like forces you to just level up as a person when you 100%. Have children. So
I completely agree with that. So you've had a nice, few-year run of continuing to climb, success when it comes to selling, hitting numbers, doing volume, et cetera, et cetera. What would you say is now at this point at the forefront of your brain as to where you're going, what's next for you, just kind of what's on the radar for you at this point?
Yeah.
You've seen some success and you see the fruits of all the labor and the trials that you've been through. So where's your vision at right now?
Well, I was able to, when I was pregnant with McLean, I was able to kind of expand a little bit. And, my numbers literally from 22 to now quadrupled in sales. And the only reason that happened is because I was able to add people to my team.
Sure.
So, bringing in friends, bringing in former teachers who wanted to leave the classroom or retire, former clients who I thought y'all would be really good at this,
sure.
And just kind of having a team. So now I have 6 people, 6 other agents that work under me and
Sweet.
kind of like in a mentorship capacity. They're all amazing, very talented women and moms, and just I look up to them in so many ways. I couldn't do what I do without them. So I think just like growing that team and and then just seeing like, okay, how can we serve people better and really just be a little bit more efficient?
Yep. Systems in place and stuff like that.
Right.
That's one thing I struggle with as a leader.
Yeah.
I don't do well with that.
The systems thing is so hard because everybody's brain like works differently.
Yes, it does.
And
which is a beautiful thing, but you got to figure out from your perspective how to implement that to put this person in the right position to empower them.
Yes.
But it's also helping you and them. And
right.
That's a hard balance.
It's a very hard thing to navigate because you want to be able to, because I am a hard-headed person, I never want to put on someone else like, this is what you're going to do.
Right.
Because anytime someone does that to me, I'm like, no, I'm not.
I'm not doing that. I'm
not
specifically not doing it because you said I was.
Because you said I'm going to do that. So I never want to be that person to someone else. I always do. I love that word empower. Like I want to be able to empower the people on my team to just be amazing, brilliant at what they do.
Absolutely.
So I think it's just figuring out how to support them to see the same kind of success that I've had. Because Josh and I always say, like, honestly, there's nothing special about what I've done.
Sure.
There really isn't. It's just been like grind, and work really hard and put in the hours.
Yeah. You can't be afraid to do it.
No.
And I think a common denominator throughout this whole conversation and conversations that I've had with other successful people in their industries is just that. You figure out where your niche is. You figure out that it's not necessarily about what you do. It's about making the relationships with the people, doing the work, doing what you said you're going to do, all those small things that so many people don't do. And then from there, it's just taking it. And then once you get to certain points, now it becomes more about, instead of just earning an additional dollar, let me see how I can impact other people and help change their lives too.
Right.
And for you to be able to do that as a mom, as a wife, I just think it's so impressive. So I just want to say I'm proud of you. It's kudos to see. And I just love seeing it, to be honest with you. So if there's anything that we haven't went over that you had on your brain, what would that be? Anything that you want to tell the viewers here?
Right. I think just like follow the path that's laid out before you and just put in the work day to day. You know, when I started out thinking I was going to be a sports reporter, you know, as a college student, and then kind of navigating that to being a high school English teacher, and then saying yes to opportunities that were put in my path. That's kind of always been a rule of mine and Josh's, is when you have the chance to say yes, say yes.
Sure. You never know where it's going to lead you.
Yeah. And if I would have never said yes to that travel club opportunity, if I would have never, you know, been a high school English teacher and put in those reps, you know, I would have never had that opportunity to then leap into another position. And I really think follow that path that's laid out and put in the work, because you really don't know where it's gonna lead you. And it's like that journey looking back of like, wow, I never knew that those like little steps and those little choices that I made to just consistently take care of other people and serve people well would have led me to where I am now.
They can be life-changing, and they can be, you know, a process of where you learn a lot about who you are as well, is what I figured out too.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of like the grit and the grind of it all. Like that's honestly what I love. Like I love it.
That's what gets you fired up every day. It's not just about a paycheck.
No, it definitely isn't. For me, it's like solving the puzzle, solving the problem, just serving people well, and I just love to work hard. Like,
same here.
It just is what it is. I know. I'm like always seeing your posts on like Instagram. I'm like, yes, like, I feel the same way.
I've got to figure out a way to like put them on my own, because I just share other people's things that I see. I'm like, that resonates with me, so I'm gonna share it because somebody needs to read it. You know what I mean?
Right. But it does, like that. Those kind of ideas really do resonate with me. Of like, just put in the hard work, because I think when you do that, like when you, like I know we both love, you know, working out and that kind of thing, or like. It was put on my heart to have unmedicated births. Like I had both my humans with no drugs, but like it was great. Yeah.
Holy smoke.
But it's one of those things of like when the Lord puts those things on your heart, I feel like there's a reason for it, because you're supposed to like be resilient, persevere through that. And then he's like proving to you like, this is how I created you. Like this is who I created you to be.
Wow. I don't think I can follow that up. So what a wonderful conversation. I appreciate you being here, taking the time to do it. I feel like anybody, whether it's a male or a female, can learn a lot from your story and hopefully be inspired from it. That, to your point, there's a lot of rooms that I've been in where I felt the same way. I'm not the smartest, I'm not the sharpest, I'm not the fastest, strongest, biggest, whatever. But I've always believed in myself and not been afraid to work. And I think that's what's allowed me to have the small success that I've had. So kudos to you for realizing that about yourself too. So
awesome.
Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you learned something today. If you didn't, go back and rewatch it because you weren't paying attention, obviously. So thank you for being here. If you would do me a favor, like, share, subscribe to the YouTube or Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to. We're going to link Allie's social media so you can connect with her on social media as well. So be sure to follow her as well. And we'll see you next time.